And many thanks for making a date with me today on the marketplace. Let's start with a very fair story. And the Commercial Division of an Accra High Court has set September 26 to give judgment on whether it has jurisdiction on a matter brought before it by owners of UniCredit Savings and Loans Limited Holder Group. Lead counsel for the Bank of Ghana, Frank Davies, is praying the court to quash UniCredit's case, which seeks to reverse a decision by the central bank to revoke UniCredit's license and declare it insolvent. According to lawyers of the Bank of Ghana, the matter should be handled at an arbitration level before proceeding to court. My colleague Ebenezer Sabute, who witnessed proceedings in the court, is here with me to give us some more details. Ebenezer, you're welcome to the marketplace.
Thank you.
So is it a final judgment, and what actually happened in
No,
court?
this is not going to be the final judgment. Actually, after the owners of UniCredit filed an application, the respondent, which is the Bank of Ghana and then the Attorney General, filed a response that they described the application as incompetent, in that the court doesn't have jurisdiction to settle the matter because per the rules, the case is supposed to go for arbitration, and after the arbitration and both parties, there's no understanding between both parties, then they can come for court to give a judgment on it. But the matter has not been to any arbitration, and then straightforward they move to the court. So because of this, they are supposed to take it back to arbitration. Therefore, they want the judge. Yes, UniCredit, owners of UniCredit. Let me put it that way. Therefore, they want the judge, Justice George Kumsin, to quash the matter so that he directs them to go back to arbitration. And after the arbitration, he can, whichever court, if there's a misunderstanding, still they can proceed to whichever court they want to. So that's the kind of judgment that the judge will be giving on Thursday, which is 26, to determine whether they have jurisdiction over it or it doesn't have jurisdiction. In other instances, yes, the jurisdiction is there. You can, we can arbitrate over the matter. But what the other people are saying, that's the applicant is saying, is that even though we know that we're supposed to go for arbitration, there are certain breaches that your actions, was against, and therefore we need to settle those breaches before we go back to the arbitration. So all this
September 26 is quite short. So that's
just Thursday. Yes.
But did you get a chance to speak with the counsel for UniCredit and what they say?
No, I haven't engaged them personally, but people that were close to them that I was having an engagement with indicate that yes, after Thursday, then they will take a decision on the matter. So we are waiting for Thursday for the judge to decide whether
it should go for arbitration or he has the locus to judge.
Yes, and interestingly, whichever judge, I'm sure it's Judge Kunsin who will proceed over the matter, and whether when he gives the judgment that he have jurisdiction, and he'll be the same person to just take it away straightforward. Then they will start hearing from both parties, the respondent, the applicant, and then give judgment as to whether the revocation of their license was lawful or unlawful.
All right, so we'll wait till Thursday. But still in court, in a related development, lawyers for the receiver of the defunct savings and loans companies, Eric Nananipa, has objected to an application served by Group Indum. This, according to the lawyer, creates an impression that the receiver is running away from court. This follows directive by the court last week to properly serve the receiver in the case filed to terminate the liquidation process for GN Savings and Loans. The court has therefore adjourned to 26th of September to begin hearing from both sides. So, Ebenezer, what also is...
So what this means is that, the last time we were in court on the 19th, the judge instructed GN Group, let me put it that way, to properly serve the receiver here in Eric Nananipa and the PwC. According to the lawyers for the GN Group, they couldn't get Nananipa to serve him. So they went back to the court to get an ex-parte motion. So that is, if you are not able to get a person directly to serve, you can serve to
the representative.
Yes, so you can even go to his house, his office, paste the application on his walls. You can even do it through social media as ex-parte, yes, so that the court will order him to appear.
And did they go through all these channels?
So after they couldn't serve him directly on that same day, that's what they went to do. But the court gave the order, so they went to paste the writ or the application on the doors of the receiver, and that is what the lawyers are objecting to it. According to them, this creates the impression as if Eric Nananipa want to run away from this case, which for them is not any special, it's not any big case that they cannot handle, and therefore the court need to settle that matter. According to the lawyers for Group Indum, they don't intend to do that, but they were not able to identify the man, that's Eric Nananipa, and that is why they went ahead to do that. But they responded, that's Nananipa's lawyers, Philip Addison, was also saying that they were in court last week, that's on the 19th. So even if you are not able to get our client, we are here, you could have directly serve us. Why do you have to go there? And then also per the rules, you are not supposed to serve an ex parte if you did only one attempt and you are not able to get the person. You are supposed to go for 3 times, exhaust all the rules. So if you go today, you couldn't meet him. The next day, you couldn't meet him. The third time, when you are not able to meet him, then you can do an ex parte. But you went on that same day, which is the 19th, you couldn't get the person, and then the following day you run to the court to give you an ex parte motion. It doesn't happen like that. Therefore, they are objecting to it.
So did you get a reaction from GN?
Yes, I got the reaction from GN. GN, they seems to be confident that yes, the right thing will be done. And right there and there, just after the court, they've served the man. So I think let's listen to the member from the GN group who was explaining what happens to me.
Okay.
Our lawyer was of the view that the judge had ruled that the service had been ordered by the court and had been served, and therefore the receiver is properly served as we sat in the court. So, but he indicated his willingness to serve the receiver personally now that he was in court today. The other thing was that the Attorney General's lawyer indicated that they had a preliminary legal objection, and for which reason they have filed a motion to that effect. So the court was of the view that then the parties should be served, and then he will move the motion. He was adjourning to 26, 2 days from now, next Thursday, to hear that preliminary objection filed by the Attorney General's office.
So what does this mean? This means when 26, when they come, what are we coming to do?
Thursday, there will probably be 2 things, either to hear the application or the preliminary objection application filed by the Attorney General. And secondly, if now that the receiver is served, the earlier order was that all the parties, all the respondents, Bank of Ghana, Ministry of Finance, Attorney General, and the receiver must file their responses to the application that the applicant had filed. So on Thursday, if they filed their response, then the judge is seized with all the responses from all the parties to be able to make a judgment or adjourn to make a judgment. And the second thing that is likely to be done is to hear the preliminary objection that the Attorney General had filed. Interestingly, Counsel for Bank of Ghana, Mr. Frank Davis, also said he had also put in a preliminary legal objection application before the judge. So maybe these are the 3 things that will be discussed on Thursday.
All right, so that was Kofi Amponsa, a representative from GN, explaining the issues further. So Ebenezer, what next?
So on Thursday when we go, there's going to be hearing. So like the judge instructed, both the Attorney General, the Ministry of Finance, the Bank of Ghana lawyers are going to file a response to the application brought to it by the GN group. So there will be a hearing of that application, and then they will either adjourn or give judgment.
Okay.
It's possible. What could be? Yes. And then also the UniCredit issue too, the judge will determine whether he have the jurisdiction to determine the matter, or they should take it to arbitration, or whatever he may decide to instruct.
So it's to be a busy day on Thursday
it has been,
the receiver.
Yes, it has been a busy day. Even today, it has been a busy day for him. And I tell you, it's going to be so until these cases are. Yes.
Thank you very much for that update. Mr. Sabote bringing us the issues as they evolved in court today. Let's turn attention to other stories. Professor of Economics Eric Osesibi says the local currency could depreciate further, getting to 6 cedis to $1 if the Bank of Ghana fails to put in right measures to mitigate the current risks the economy faces. The UK-based research firm, the Economist Intelligence Unit, says the Ghana cedi will hit 6 cedis to $1 by 2022, as it may suffer some external pressures that may cause the depreciation even faster next year. In an interview with Joy Business, Professor Osesibi noted that a stable exchange rate is vital for the stability of the larger macroeconomy.
Prediction, but it's a possibility. It is a possibility if nothing is done, to mitigate the risk of the cedi depreciation. Of course, once we are under a floating exchange rate regime, it's always difficult for the central bank to hold down or to pin down the currency. What the central bank can do is to try to meet it some halfway, to not to allow it to depreciate so fast. The stability of the exchange rate is vital for any macroeconomic stability. I mean, if you want to achieve stability in macroeconomic sense, be it fiscal, be it your growth and whatever, if you don't have a stable exchange rate, it is difficult for you to have. With fiscal, if your currency depreciates, definitely it's going to affect your fiscal projections, because it's going to lead to a widening fiscal deficit because your interest service will go up. It's going to increase your debt stock.
And the Ghana Statistical Service is expected to present a petition to Parliament to allow it to develop a different mechanism for determining prices of food commodities on the local market. According to the GSS, the current formula for pricing goods on the market is not aligned to acceptable international standards or best practices. Government statistician Professor Samuel Kobina says the GSS will be meeting with Parliament to discuss and adopt a uniformed methodology.
Fourthly, we say that it is important at the national level, this goes beyond Ghana Statistical Service, as a country for us to think about the weighing of items to inform pricing. This is a challenge with the quantity of data that is associated with prices of data that we collect from the market. If we get into the market and the market woman says that these heaps cost this amount, this is largely influenced by seasonality, perceptions, and attitude. There's no scientific approach by which the pricing is done, especially for items that are weighted. So the proposal that Ghana Statistical Service is going to put on the floor of Parliament is that as a country, we should begin to think about how we can get our market sellers to get us prices based on the weight of the item rather than based on heaps and guesswork and seasonality moving forward.
It's all live on the marketplace. Let's turn attention to one of our top stories this afternoon. A survey conducted by the Afro Champions Initiative, a regional public-private partnership of Africa's largest multinationals, has warned that Ghana may not benefit much from the Continental Free Trade Agreement, which comes into effect in July 2020. The results of the survey conducted this year indicates that Ghana currently is far from benefiting from the Trade Pact when it is implemented. Revealed no Ghana company ranks among the biggest indigenous African corporations in Africa. Now, the survey says Ghana is the second largest importer of goods and services produced by African multinationals. To help us throw some more light on this worrying situation is the country director of the Africa Continental Free Trade Policy Network Ghana and Diaspora, Louise Yao Afo. He joins me in the studio. Sir, you're welcome to the market.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Now, this is a very worrying situation, especially when we are hosting, the secretariat of the agreement here. Now, what do you think about this?
Well, I think that first of all, it's a survey, and they have the right to opinions. But basically, I have a different opinion, because the agreement itself does not indicate how each country should arrive at its implementation. Each country each party member state is supposed to derive a certain strategy for implementation. And in Ghana, the government is rolling out in 3 months its national strategy to implement, and he has identified 7 clusters. 7 clusters. Okay. When these clusters are implemented, it cuts across all sectors. You have trade finance, you have trade finance, you have productive factors, you have infrastructure. All these things have various sub-clusters.
Okay. But let's look at this way. Looking at the fact that this is supposed to create an opportunity or a market for the entire continent, and we, as a major importer of goods and services into the country, do you think that we have a chance to leverage the opportunities that they present?
Of course. You see, if you look at free trade in general, the point is that it opens up for competition. Once you go in for something free, and besides, we are going to have liberalized category of goods and products. Again, it is an open time for more startups to rise. When you import more, it helps you become input-based economy. More inputs are coming for you to have a kind of open and wide, cheap, productive inputs to produce more. And also what happens is that it creates more jobs, because at the end of the day, more cheap inputs are coming in because of the open competition. It also supports you to have a little low-cost production, so they can increase your volume. That is the way you should look at it. Because at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, you surely have to compete.
Now, we have also been an agrarian economy for a very long time. Now, bringing in this initiative, do you think that we should, tend towards our comparative advantage, like agriculture issues, and then export more in the area?
I agree with you, but as I said initially, every economy has to strategize. We are not going to remain agrarian for a long time. A lot of tech-based agrarian is coming in, tech-based products, tech-based initiatives, tech-based sectors are opening up. Agri fine, but we need to look at tech and tech startups. This is where most African economies are shifting. You add value. You are talking about comparative advantage. This comparative advantage issue, look, the secret of it is that it should be something that at the end of the day, you have to be able to produce beyond what you were doing using tech. Comparative advantage of that tech is the same thing. And so even if I have the comparative advantage of, in terms of, let's say, cocoa, if I have the comparative advantage like Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, they would have said, okay, let Ghana focus on chocolate, Cote d'Ivoire focus on something else. But at the end of the day, it is not necessarily so. It is how you add tech, modernize, innovation to your advantage. That is what is important. So just saying that you have comparative advantage, it's not enough.
But we've maximized output without tech in the past.
It is becoming different. Let me ask you, as we are here now, tech apps on mobile phones, these days have even taken off even physical products like radio, because some have softwares like radios on their app. It has taken off even filing systems on your physical filing system. So even by some of the apps even that we are seeing on mobile phones, certain products are out of the system. So even if you had comparative advantage of those products even in the past, and you say because they are comparative, they are going to remain
you don't modernize.
Precisely. Extreme modernization.
And do you think that we really, are prepared as a nation to actually?
I can tell you, there are a lot of things happening. Look, we had a time to chat with Dr. Thomas Mensah, the farmer, and I tell you, this man is doing a lot of things. There are a lot of input that are happening. If you go to the East African community, there's a lot of tech-based programs coming up because of container free trade, because they are opening up. And so we can. And I want to appeal to especially the youth, those involved in science, tech, whatever. This is their right time. Because at the end of the day, just identify a product that you think that will have markets. Once you identify the product and you locate the market, then you move in to do this kind of, having the tech cover of it. Because already now, if we are not able to export to Europe, because we are doing intra-African trade, you will surely have an African market. For example, if you go to Senegal, there is a company, I've forgotten, they have a certain software that enable, I think they showcased it in Barcelona, and there was an electronic fair. It's about signature, electronic signature. Because there will come a time, maybe I want to have an agreement signed with somebody in Egypt or something, I have to travel. This software, I have to follow up. This software enables you to have this kind of signature easily. Okay?
Yeah. And do you think that, we can really benefit by way of prices? I mean, companies, because, for instance, like you said, companies that hitherto were exporting to Europe, maybe at a particular price, now have the opportunity to export, within the African continent. But what about pricing?
Yes, you see, one thing that really categorizes this agreement is rules of origin. Rules of origin. Okay, and in this agreement, we have 10% exclusive. We have 7% sensitive product, 3% exclusion. That list is not out. That list is akin to the party states within a certain, the regional blocks. Now, the pricing is easy because they are saying that you are able to have low input in terms of, low cost in your production. And you're able to do more volumes intra. You are looking at transportation, logistics. It will be reduced a bit. And so it means the cost of your production you'll be able to save to be able to expand. Because at the end of the day, if you were taking 100% volume to Europe and they give you restrictions, and these restrictions are taken up by the agreement, it means that you are saving that 80% to sell within Africa. The best thing is for us to improve on our infrastructure to transport.
I believe we have more time to chat about these issues, but your final word, 30 seconds, what would you have to say about this initiative?
This initiative is good. And this is the best time for all the sectors of the economy to breathe themselves, the private sector. Whether you like it or not, the best way to prosper is to have a liberalized economy. It's to liberalize trade to a certain extent so that you can be able to compete.
All right. Many thanks for that input there. Louis Afo is a trade expert. He's been sharing his thoughts on the implementation of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement and how Ghana can stand to benefit from the market to be created. Away from that, entrepreneurs are being urged to pay attention to reducing environmental risks associated with their business modules. Training coordinator at Local Enterprise Service Hub, No Business as Usual, Shaibu Husseini, believes environmental sustainability may be a concern for all business levels. Nanaya Ojima attended an entrepreneurship event for the youth dubbed Connected Thinking, organized by the Hub. Here's more in this report.
Many entrepreneurs, in their quest to develop business opportunities, end up creating environmental problems. Bottling and catering companies have often exposed society to nuisance with poor handling and disposal of packaging materials. Mr. Husseini wants entrepreneurs to factor in how to deal with such challenges in business planning.
So essentially, it means that incorporating this concept of green entrepreneurship or green technology into your business means that you are exposed to a lot more opportunities, even funding. Now, there are a lot of impact investors that are looking to fund businesses that will make impact. It means you stand a chance. Incorporating it in itself means that you're also contributing your quota in one way or the other to ensure that the environment we have today is secured for future generations. We all create environmental footprints or imprints that are detrimental to the environment. This means that there's a problem. Solving the problem comes with what? An opportunity. As you try to solve that problem, you create wealth. You realize that now there are a lot of projects out there, trash to treasure. Everyone is trying to turn waste into money. In itself, it's creating employment.
Ideanomics 9.0, an entrepreneurship seminar held under the theme Opportunities and Challenges and the Green Economy, brought together 90 entrepreneurs. Deliberations focused on areas like green technology and green entrepreneurship. Founder at Premier Waste, Edmond Arthur Brown, believes professionals in diverse fields must cooperate to address challenges in the field.
Young people can research more about this thing. Young people can add value to it. As I said, basically we send these materials to different countries. But if we have young people, engineers coming on board, adding value to this thing, we can develop our country. China developed their country through plastic waste. The young people in Ghana can also develop technologies which we can use. We will send a thing here. We won't give it out to the people to add value to it and come and sell it to us at a higher price.
Player in the green economy space, Patrick Ayemeli, proposes youth in waste management should identify lapses and offer solutions to them. Nana Ojima reporting.
And this is where we wrap up the marketplace for today. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. Let's meet again same time tomorrow. Have a good afternoon.